If you're still running ads the old way, you're about to get completely zucked. I'm not talking about performance dipped a little, I lost 500 bucks. I'm talking about your cost per lead blowing sky high, your show rates tanking, and you start thinking that ads don't work anymore, or ads aren't for me. But the truth is, ads still work. The rules just changed, and there's a different method that you need to be using to get good results with them. And most people don't realize this. That's why they continually burn ad spend without seeing anything in return. Meta just pushed out their biggest update to their AI algorithm since 2018. It's called Andromeda. And if you don't know about it, you are about to get fucked. It completely changes how ads are selected, delivered, and scaled. And so in this video, I'm going to break down what changed, why your ads don't work anymore, and how you can rebuild your ad accounts so that they can actually perform in 2025 so you can collect that real bag in Q4. Let's get right into it. So once upon a time, to increase your ad performance, you would use targeting tricks, lookalike audiences, tweaking your copy, interest stacks. That era is completely over. The algorithm is just way smarter nowadays than it used to be because they have so much data on your consumers. And if your system doesn't comply with Meta's algorithm updates, you are going to get completely fucked. It's game over for you. So let's talk about what actually is Meta Andromeda, how does it work, and how can you implement this system into your business to not get fucked. First of all, you need to understand the change in the retrieval system. This is the part that decides whether your ads even get to enter the auctions that you're trying to bid on. So this happens completely before bidding or ranking begins, and you've seen this ad rank thing come up recently. We have ranking and then your bidding, and your bidding is based on how you're ranked, and the cost per lead is going to be determined on your ad quality score. And again, there's no real way to see that ad quality score, but ad rank is the best guess that we have at that. And so your ads are now filtered for relevance and quality before they even have a chance to spend on your audience. Facebook wants to deliver the best experience to the consumers. And so the way they do that is by showing relevant ads. You've probably heard a lot of people complaining about ads. Oh, I don't like ads. I don't like ads. I don't like ads. Of course, nobody likes to be sold to, and nobody likes to be advertised to. I had a girl over here the other night, perfect example. We were watching TV, and she was telling me about how like these ads were very relevant to her. And she's like, "Oh, I actually need more of that. Let me go look and see, let me go buy this thing. Let me go look and see about the product." And so she actually took that action because the ad was relevant. And no matter how much people will tell you that they don't like ads, it is very important that you understand that everybody wants relevant ads, things that are relevant to them and things that actually make sense for their specific scenario. And so Facebook is trying to do that. They're going to give ads that have the highest probability to buy. This is good news for you as an advertiser because Facebook will show ads that have the highest probability of actually being something that someone would purchase because they want things that are relevant. And so this is why your crappy creative and split tests and copy paste variations aren't going to really work anymore because people have very specific reasons that they buy. There's micro intentions, right? And this is what I call the micro intention scale. There is a bunch of different intentions that someone might buy, right? Why would someone buy this microphone? Maybe it's because their audio sucks. Maybe it's because they don't have a microphone. Maybe it's because they like the brand Shure. Maybe it's because they want to look like a guru, right? There's a lot of reasons that someone might buy something. There's a lot of micro reasons that you need to be hitting on. And now these little micro reasons, Facebook has so much data that they can determine these micro reasons. Versus in the past, we had to look at these big mega reasons as to why something would be bought, right? We'd have to say, oh, you want the best audio quality and this kind of thing. But it might be because somebody bought this microphone because it's the same microphone that some rapper used in a music video and they want to be like them, right? There's a lot of different reasons that someone might buy something, and so we want to hit our ad angles on all the different reasons, all the little tiny reasons that people may buy, and not just on these huge reasons, right? These micro reasons are what's really working right now, and so that's really what we need to focus on. Back in 2020, when I was running my advertising agency, or even like 2023, even 2024, the goal was to get hooks and bodies. That was the strategy, and that just does not work. That's completely just, it's going to get you zucked in this era, right? You don't want to do the hook and body strategy anymore. It's not valid. You can test different hooks, yes, but test your two different hooks on like different angles, right? So instead of just testing hooks and bodies and split testing those, you want completely different ad angles, right? And so this is something that's super important for you to understand, is that these little tiny things are what really makes a difference right now in Andromeda, right? For example, targeting hacks, it's not going to get you anywhere because these micro iterations, Facebook already knows, right, who is probable to convert based off of that reason and what reason someone has. Facebook has so many data points on the brain, more than really like any other platform out there besides maybe like Google, or maybe there's a few others, but Meta is pretty close to the most. And so you have to understand that these little targeting hacks and things, you don't need to go out and target super in detailed, because Meta will go do that for you. They know who is probable to buy based on the retrieval engine. And the way Facebook gets this data is through the conversion API and through your pixel, right? I recommend 100% of the time you run the conversion API, and I a lot of times won't even use the pixel, and that's, surprising to a lot of advertisers. They're like, oh, you're not going to use a pixel. I like the conversion API better. It gives better clean data. If someone didn't fill out the information right, I don't want them to get pixeled, right? If somebody doesn't give me real info, we don't want them to be pixeled, right? And again, this is like comes back to like the way Jeremy Haynes talks about this, about using conditional logic, pixel conditioning, only send back the good things to your pixel. Same thing I've been doing for a while. You need clean event matching, right? You need to be able to say, okay, if somebody's scheduled in a call, that person needs to go back to Facebook, so Facebook can say, okay, let me go find more people like this who scheduled in a call. But if you're just sending back a bunch of broke, unqualified leads, you're never going to actually optimize your pixel around high quality leads, right? So this is how you just light money on fire, literally. And so this is a huge thing that a lot of people do, is they're just like are not tracking, they're not keeping up with the latest iterations of Facebook and Meta Andromeda. They're touching their campaigns every day. They're just moving stuff around. They're turning shit off as soon as it doesn't work for a day, and they're spending small amounts. They're using just big iterations and big reasons that someone might buy, and then also like, not having enough ads in the ad set. So we'll talk about all these things a little bit more in depth in a second, and I'm gonna actually go through and structure out each individual thing that you need to do to combat Meta Andromeda so that you can get good results and fucking kill it for you or your clients. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all are watching this and you're probably using these outdated setups when it comes to ads. You're just burning cash. And this is kind of like your wake up call. If you want to get an expert like me to come take a look at your current ad setup and see, okay, is this actually matching up? Or you just give you advice on Andromeda, just click the first link in the description. You can book in a call directly with me. It's not going to be with a closer unless maybe it is with the closer in the future. But for right now, I take all those calls myself, just out of the love for the game. I don't really make that much money off of those, but again, I have all these different systems already outlined. I have all the SOPs for it and everything like that that I currently use in my agency, that's spending over $1 million a month on paid advertising. And so I can give you all the strategies, what's working, what's not working, and how you can implement them for yourself. All right, so the new winning ad structure in 2025. This is super, super important. You want to simplify the ad account. This has been a best practice for years. All right, we want to have it as simple as possible so that Meta's AI can get the data back as simply as possible and understand who your target market is as simply as possible. And so what I like to do is I just like to set up the ad account super, super simply. So we have our one campaign, our one ad set, and then inside of our campaign, I like to pretty much always ad set budget optimize nowadays. I don't really see a reason to do it from the campaign level. I prefer to be able to have control over it. If you're running a bunch of different ad sets, then you would do it through the campaign level, but I don't want to run a bunch of different ad sets. I'd rather just like always ABO. So that's what I would recommend. And then advantage targeting. Manual placements, the placements you can check off the threads. Who the fuck runs ads on threads? Who the fuck uses threads? So don't waste your money on threads placements and shit like that. Only spend on the platforms that are actually going to get you results, which are Instagram and Facebook, right? The two core platforms. And that's kind of what I recommend. You can run WhatsApp ads as well. I've seen it work, but very rarely do I see it work unless you're running like a WhatsApp campaign objective. But yeah, usually WhatsApp does not work like that. You can also exclude customers in that list. So if we're doing advantage audiences, I like to exclude my customer list and any sort of recent leads that I don't want in that. That's kind of the new winning structure, but just keep it simple. One campaign, one ad set, then we're gonna have our ads. You'll see in your ads manager now, there's this option for like creative split testing where it's like relevant ads or like similar ads, right? And that's just gonna be a list of a bunch of different ads that are similar. And those are going to be videos that you posted in your ad account before that it thinks are high probability to use. I recommend not using that for a few different reasons. One, you don't actually get data on what's working and what's not. I usually go 25 to 35, but for a beginner, smaller budget, I'd recommend 15 to 25. But the important thing is you have them all in the same ad set and you have them all just duplicated out. Don't use this like creative testing or anything like that. It'll put some whack ass music on there. Like I posted a story the other day promoting a red carpet party that I was doing. That was basically just like a private event. And it put some damn happy birthday music on there. I've seen it put like Christmas music on there. It's always whack as fuck. So don't use any sort of like ad music or creative enhancements or any of this stuff. It's all garbage. Now, the creative volume is super important nowadays as well. like I just talked about a second ago, we need a lot more volume of different angles that we have. So for example, I always recommend doing like 15 to 25 different creatives, or like 25 to 30 for spending more than like $150, $200 a day. We should have a lot of different creatives. And again, we should be hitting on every different angle. So my strategy for this is I just sit down, I write down with a pen and piece of paper. I get rid of my laptop and everything like that. I'll usually go over to like on my balcony or on my couch or somewhere like that. I'll set a timer for 30 minutes on my TV, and then I will just like no electronics, nothing. Just think of, okay, what are all the different reasons that someone might buy? What are all the different angles and everything like that as to why someone might buy my thing? And then how are all the different ways that we can use that in our ads, right? So I like to just like whip up a bunch of different reasons that someone might buy, and then I turn each of those reasons into a different ad. Now, what we should not be doing is like a new shirt, same script, or like same script but a different angle. We want to test out as many different angles as we can with, as many different scripts as we can, but we want to just test angles. That's the biggest takeaway if you don't take away anything else. We need to have a lot more creatives than we had before, and we need to be testing all the different angles. And so for placements, again, we just talked about that. We want manual placements. Always do manual placements. Advantage placements is garbage. It's a great way to waste your money, a great way to buy Mark Zuckerberg a flight to Hawaii, a private jet to Hawaii, where he can just fuck off and spend his time on a private island. Learning stability. Don't panic at it. You don't want to go in and be just like playing around with the numbers a ton. Let it ride. Let it sit for 2 to 3 days before you make any adjustments. Then you can go back in. Scale in like 20%, no more than 20% at a time increments, right? So if you start at like $100 a day, don't scale up to like $500 a day just off rip. Your job is not to like control the algorithm. It's really just like feed the algorithm better data and better creatives than I had before. So you're no longer like finding your audience with targeting. And this is another point that I'll kind of talk about is targeting. You're not really like going out and finding your audience. You need to let Meta do that based on your creative. The creatives need to be something that Meta can actually pull something from. So that can be statics with text on the screen. It's going to pull from like your primary text, your headlines, your description, and then the actual creative itself. It's going to analyze it and see, okay, is there any text in this creative? Transcribe your video creative. It is November 5th, 2025 as I'm filming this. The things that are working right now are just these like iPhone selfie videos. They're ripping right now. These are like the best video ads that you can have. And then static ads, story ads are working the best. That's fucking game that I usually only put my students on in the in my growth incubator, which is like my consulting program. And if you want to join that, by the way, we have all the copy paste SOPs for this whole system. We have basically everything that you need to see success with Meta Andromeda. We've done it for plenty of people, and it's the exact same system we use to spend over $1 million a month in my agency. And so if you want all the copy paste SOPs, weekly one-on-one calls, being able to text me at any point in time, so like 24/7 text support anytime you need any sort of help, all that stuff is included in my growth incubator program. So if you want to, if you're interested in that, just click the link in the description, click the top link in the description, book in a quick call with me. So UGC videos, face to camera, storytelling videos, case studies, student interviews, testimonials, ripping right now. You can also even do like meme angles I've seen working. Like if you're an actual business, if you're selling like info, it's probably not going to work that well. But if you're like an actual business, memes work very well right now as well. They're bringing like slightly lower intent leads, but they are bringing leads that are qualified still. The memes just have to be relevant if you're going to do that. And again, if you want more information on that, book in a call with me and I can run you through our exact formula for that. And then also demonstrations of the offer. So for example, a great example of this is like Flex Seal. You've seen, Phil Swift, he goes up and slaps the tape onto the boat. The boat just floats on the water. They take the fucking screen door and they build a boat out of it and they Flex Seal it. That is a dramatic demonstration, is what we call it, of an offer. Some of the biggest metrics to look at nowadays have changed. You got to look at 0 to 3 second thumb stop, your 3 second video view rate, your CTRs, as well as your CPMs, and then your save and share rate. These are the biggest things to look at for like how good a video actually is in that angle. And so if you have a shit video but the angle is still doing good, you can always improve and iterate on that angle and make the video itself better with the same angle. But don't start out by doing that. Just start out by getting all the angles out there and seeing what works and what doesn't. If they don't stop, they're not going to watch. If they don't watch, they're not going to click. And if they don't click, they're not going to convert. So you got to remember that. So that's like the most top funnel that it gets. Make sure you're optimizing for your click-through rate, your CPMs, your 3 second video views, all that. Now, there's a hidden opportunity here because at the end of the day, most people are not going to adapt to Meta Andromeda, right? They're not going to know what to do. They're going to blame their ads. They're going to quit. And then they're going to leave these cheap leads and cheap traffic for people like us who know what we're doing. And so this is the biggest advantage window since 2020, and an advantage, no pun intended. The algorithm's finally going to start rewarding people who actually operate like businesses, right? So if you're operating in info, you have to think like a business, right? And if you want to build the system the right way, again, the way Andromeda is going to reward you is by basically structuring out these ad sets the right way, structuring your creatives the right way so that you're actually getting the right people. And again, if you want to learn all these different things, you can just click the first link in the description, book in a call with me. I'll give you some free sauce. I'll run you through kind of what everything looks like as far as the system for the growth incubator. And then I can drop you some sauce as well. We'll help you check out where you're at, your current ad setup, find any leaks, find any holes in the bucket so that you're not just leaking and burning cash. And that way you can start printing instead. And so if you'd like to keep seeing videos like this where I break down the ways to maximize your revenue from paid ads, just like and subscribe to this video and leave a comment about what your thoughts are on Meta Andromeda. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. My number is 704-998-8564. That's +1 704-998-8564. So just shoot me a text. That's my personal cell. I'll be happy to help you out, happy to answer you. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.